Interstate 376. Man, I hate to shame my former hometown's 3-digit interstate, but it has to be done. I-376 is the second longest 3-digit interstate in the state, and travels from the town of Hermitage, past the turnpike and the airport, through downtown Pittsburgh, finally ending in Monroeville, where it meets up with the turnpike again. Okay, first we're going to be talking about eastbound I-376. I-376 starts at an interchange with I-80, where I-80 is signed west for Youngstown, Ohio, and I-80 east is signed for everything but New York City. Mercer, Du Bois, Clearfield, the list goes on. You know what? I'm ringing it up. This is for I-80 in the entirety of Pennsylvania. Okay, moving on. What are we signed for? Okay, it's Newcastle. Newcastle. Why Newcastle? You can't even sign Pittsburgh here. You think it only belongs on I-79. Well, here you go, I-376. And guess what? It's the only city we get on a mile marker 13 miles away. You can't even put Pittsburgh on there? God darn you, Pennsylvania! And look at this. We get an exit mileage sign for Newcastle. Whoa. Okay. I need a break. Let's move on. Here's where you meet with US 422 westbound, which goes to Youngstown, Ohio. I agree with that control city. Good job. And it's only when US 422 eastbound merges with us that we're finally signed for Pittsburgh. Thank God! And here's where eastbound US 422 splits off for Butler. This will actually be a video in the future. And now I-376 is going to be a toll road to I-76 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Pittsburgh. Good. We finally get a mileage sign with Pittsburgh on the bottom. PA Turnpike at 10 miles, Pittsburgh International Airport at 35, and Pittsburgh at 51. Good job there. Our free section of road ends as we go through this toll plaza. And here is where we meet with I-76, where you can also go to PA 351. I-76 is signed for Ohio and Harrisburg. Why would you go Ohio though? I mean, there's a few control cities that you would have to sign if you're either referring to I-76 or I-80, which is where the Ohio Turnpike continues. We go through another toll plaza south of the turnpike, and at this point, we're back to a free road for the rest of the journey. Later on, we cross the Ohio River on the Vanport Bridge, and look at the industry to the right of it. Much later on, we meet with I-376 Business, eastbound, to Moon Township. Okay, I guess that's the best you can do. And we get 1,300 feet. Very weird distance for an exit sign. Here is the airport exit. To the left lane is where you reach the airport, and to the right lane is a toll road, PA 576, eastbound to Washington. This road originally went from I-376 to US 22 and US 30, but was extended to I-79 very recently. In case you missed your exit to Business 376, you can exit here and go back westbound. Now, what freeway has ever used 3/8 of a mile on their exit sign? That's something I have found weird since my youth. At this exit, US 22 and US 30 go west to Weirton, West Virginia, but also join up with I-376 here and run with us to downtown Pittsburgh and to the east. Here's where we meet with I-79. It's signed north for Erie, and what PA 576 was signed for, Washington. Are they confusing you to think it's Washington, D.C.? Anyways, I-376 East is still Pittsburgh. But despite what I mentioned earlier, US 22 and US 30 are not on the pull-through. This mileage sign tells us that Carnegie is 1 mile, Green Tree is 3 miles, and Pittsburgh is 6 miles. Here's a quick little view of the town of Carnegie. A lot of stuff happens here. Not only did they actually sign exit 69, but we get US 19 and PA 51 signed north for the west end, okay? And southbound, south for Uniontown. Wow, that is quite a distance. That is pretty good, Pennsylvania. We also see I-279 north for North Shore, left 1 mile. And what are we signed for? Monroeville. No, why Monroeville? I understand that's where you meet with the turnpike, but go Harrisburg. Please go Harrisburg, will ya? After this exit, we enter the Fort Pitt Tunnel through Mount Washington. And when we emerge, we are treated to this beautiful view of the Fort Pitt Bridge and the Steel City. Welcome home, me. Aside from all of these exits, including North I-279 to the left, I-376 East exits itself to the right. This is the Panhandle Bridge, which carries the T, or the light rail, over the Monongahela River into downtown Pittsburgh. I also encourage you to check out my elevators at all Pittsburgh T stations video if you're interested. Well, after that, we then enter our second tunnel, the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Here's where I-30 East branches off I-376. It travels to Greensburg and beyond, but what do we get? Forest Hills. That is the next town. Here on this mileage sign we got Monroeville at 3 miles, I-76 again at 3.5 miles, and Murraysville at 6 miles. Hold on a second. First things first, we meet with the turnpike again, with the same exact control cities as before. And when I-376 ends, US 22 East continues towards Murraysville. At least that's what it's signed for, but where is it really going? Pretty far. But I think you definitely should sign Altoona here. Okay, now let's turn around and talk about westbound I-376. Starting on the other side of the interchange, we can see that we have West I-376 and US 22 for Pittsburgh, correct choice. And then we have I-76, Pennsylvania Turnpike, Ohio Harrisburg, and straight ahead is US 22 Business into Monroeville. On this mileage sign, we get Penn Hills at 3 miles, Churchill at 4 miles, and Pittsburgh at 13. Here's the entry into the Squirrel Hill Tunnel from the other side. Later on, we can spot the Cathedral of Learning. I also encourage you to check out my Elevators at the Cathedral of Learning video if you're interested. Well, here's an exit we didn't get on the other side. To I-579, Boulevard of Allies and Liberty Bridge. This is due to us being on a separate level from the eastbound section of the freeway. This is even more prevalent when we get this Pittsburgh exits mileage sign, with 2nd Avenue, Grant Street, and Stanwyck Street. 2nd Avenue and Stanwyck Street are some exits we didn't get going eastbound. Here's the exit to I-279 North, this time showing Fort Duquesne Bridge and North Shore. You know what I think I-279 should be signed for? Erie. Erie, because that's where its parent I-79 is going. And now at the next sign, we can see that we are now signed for Carnegie and the airport. Those are control cities we didn't get going eastbound. We jumped straight to Pittsburgh. Oh, but things are gonna get worse. But first things first, here we are on the lower level of the Fort Pitt Bridge, which is way less scenic than going on the upper level. We now entered the Fort Pitt Tunnel again on the other side. Notice how the westbound entry into the tunnel is lower than the eastbound exit. The first exit we get after exiting the tunnel is this, US 19 Banksville Road, and truck US 19 and PA 51 Uniontown. Okay? And we are still signed for Carnegie and Airport. Why? I mean, Airport is fine, but not Carnegie. And after Carnegie, we drop that city and we just get Airport. This is good because it does carry traffic to the airport the fastest way. Also, this exit before I-79 to Roslyn Farms is a westbound only exit. There are actually a few of those here. And here is I-79 to Erie and Washington. And apparently now I-376 is signed on this sign is completely stating out Pittsburgh International Airport. This exit to Campbell's Run Road is the other westbound only exit in this area. US 22 and US 30 branch off to the west for Weirton, West Virginia. We get Robinson Town Center on the right side of this sign. Robinson Town Center Boulevard is actually the exit that I showed you that had the 3/8 of a mile sign. On that same sign on the right, we see I-376 West Airport, and on the left sign we see I-376 West Airport and Beaver. What the heck am I seeing? Business I-376 was only Moon before, but now it says Moon and Cargo Service. That refers to the airport, but really, why would you put that on an exit sign? But then one sign up we see only Moon on the 376 West sign, but now we get I-376 West to PA 576, Pittsburgh International Airport, Beaver. Make up your mind what you put on the signs, will you, Pennsylvania? Here's the airport exit again. This time we get Pittsburgh International Airport on the right, and here we get PA 576 East to US 22. That sign was not updated, or maybe it was and the street view image is just too old. And now we get West I-376 Beaver only. Terrible. In case you missed your exit to the westbound Business 376, here it is for eastbound for Moon, plus Flaherty Run Road. And once again, we cross the Vanport Bridge, and this is in Beaver, so what are we signed for now? Oh, Newcastle. Great. Our free section of road ends as we go into the toll plaza. On the mileage sign, we get PA Turnpike 3 miles and Newcastle at 16. We meet back with the Turnpike and PA 351, Ohio Harrisburg, and this is the actual first pull-through we get saying Newcastle. And since we passed the turnpike, Newcastle is the only thing we get on a mileage sign saying 13 miles away. I think you're probably going to want to put Sharon or something on there. And once we go to this toll plaza, our free section begins once again. And here's where we meet with US 422 again, east for Butler, and the westbound portion joins up with us to go to Youngstown, and we are now signed for Sharon, as I mentioned before. And here we get a mileage sign devoted to the Newcastle exits on this side as well. Why would you do that, PA? Why? The westbound portion of US 422 branches off for Youngstown, and we get Business 422 east also for Sampson Street. And we are now I-376 to I-80, Sharon. From here, Sharon is 17 miles away. At I-80, we get west for Youngstown and east for Mercer. Everything but New York City. It's all downhill once you enter Pennsylvania on I-80. But enough ranting on I-80 because this is where I-376 ends. Now, we can't leave this video without seeing this. 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18! Whew! I can't believe I managed to do that one. But if you think I-376 is long, you ain't seen nothing yet. This next one's gonna be even longer. It's the longest in the entire country. Until then, thank you for watching this episode of Shaming PENNDOT.